We're all very unique individuals. There's no one exactly the same as you, and we live in a society that celebrates that individuality. These differences aren't just found in how we express ourselves, they're found in who you are, in your genetic makeup. No two humans ever have or ever will have the same genetic makeup. So if these vast differences in who we are so big, then how unique are we when it comes to our DNA? And a geneticist named Dr. Craig Venter wanted to establish exactly that. How much of our DNA is unique and how much of it is the same. And their team established that our DNA isn't 100% unique. It's not 50% unique. It's not even 1% unique. We are, in fact, only 0.057% unique. I'm going to round that up to 0.06%. But what that means is the differences in who we are found in such a minute percentage. That means that we are 99.94% the same person. That means that the difference between these two men are found in just 0.06%. It's a challenging thought, right? And it's one that challenges me on a daily basis. And I was especially challenged by this walking down Venice Beach yesterday, thinking, surely I'm more than 0.06% different to this guy. I hope so, anyway. But it is a challenging thought, and it's one that's a lot easier to understand within a business context. And if we take two products or two brands within the same field, like, for example, Apple and Samsung, and I just want to focus on their phones for this presentation. Their phones have to address the exact same things. They have to address screen resolution, screen size, and battery life, and the quality of the camera, and the memory, and the RAM, and so on. In fact, when you look at their specifications, they're 99.94% the same product. If we were to take those specifications and differentiate them, put them on a piece of paper and get somebody to actually pick which one's which, most people would really struggle with that, myself included. So if they are 99.94% the same product, then where does this loyalty come from? Where does this deep-seated conviction of the inferiority of the other product come from? Why is everybody such an outspoken advocate of whatever product they resonate with? What is it? If it's not found in the 99.94%, it must be in the 0.06%. So what is that? As a brand strategist, I speak to a lot of companies about their brand, about what makes them different, about why people do business with them and no one else. And I get quite expected answers like, our accounting firm has exceptional customer service, and we have a team full of very skilled accountants. We stay ahead of changes in legislation to ensure that our clients see the best outcomes. We're a great accounting firm. Now, that all sounds great, and it looks great on a brochure, but how different is that from every other accounting firm? That's shared by every single person in their industry. For example, if my accounting firm, or the accounting firm that I do business with, didn't have great customer service, they're probably not going to be my accounting firm. If they didn't have a team of specialists, or if they weren't good at what they do, they wouldn't be my accountant. If they didn't stay ahead of taxation, legislation, and so on to ensure we have the best outcome, well, you understand where I'm going. None of those things are unique to that business at all. It's kind of like asking somebody why they fly a certain airline, and the response being, it gets me to the right destination every time. You'd expect that, right? So if it's not any of those things, then what is it? I like to find that out by asking the same people what brands they're loyal to, what brands they resonate with, what brands they connect with. And we get answers like, if I have the choice, I'll fly this airline over this one, or I use this kind of pen, or I'll only ever drive a BMW. And we need to understand why. So we ask them, we give them a pen and paper, and we ask them to write down every single reason why they would only ever drive a BMW. And it's very easy for them to do. They fill up that page with features and benefits, and they talk about the design and the safety and the functionality and the sound system and the performance and the way it makes them feel and the driver experience and so on. And so we go through and dissect every single one of those, and we say, you've talked about performance. Would you say that it's the best performing car on the market? And they think about it and say, well, probably not. Okay, you've talked about safety. Would you say that it's the safest car within your budget? And they think about the others, and again, they say no. And slowly but surely, we cross out every single feature and benefit that makes them think that's why they're loyal to that brand. And we generally will get a bit of pushback, and they'll say, oh no, it's none of those things individually, it's all of those things collectively, which is very valid, which leads us to the next question. If Mercedes was to release a car that outranked the BMW in every way, it's better features, better functionality, better safety, better driver experience, better sound system, and it's at the same price point, would you buy the Mercedes over the BMW? And they think about it, but 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. What is that? What creates that loyalty? In the same way that if Samsung released a phone that outranks Apple in every single way, the majority of Apple users aren't switching. Why? Even by putting a couple of brands on the screen like Mercedes versus BMW, or Coca-Cola versus Pepsi, or McDonald's versus Burger King, Nike versus Adidas, we lean towards one over the other, and a lot of us are loyal to one over the other. Why? The products aren't dramatically different. In fact, again, within their field, the products are 99.94%. What leads to this passion? What leads to this excitement? What leads to us being these brand advocates? And when we go back to this BMW driver and we say to him, we don't understand. You're happy to drive an inferior product, have less value for money, know that there's better products out there that are within your price range, but you're still loyal to BMW. Can you explain to us why? And when you disarm them of all their features and all the benefits, they give us 4 words. And it doesn't matter who I'm speaking to, and it doesn't matter what brand they're talking about, we get the same 4 words. They just get me. They just understand me. How? How does a German manufacturer make the owner of a small accounting firm in Australia feel understood? They don't know his name, they don't know what he looks like, they don't know where he's driving to and from, they don't know any of those things, yet they not only make him feel understood, they make him feel understood to the point where he will not do business with anybody else. Now, we've established it's not in the 99.94%, so it must be in the 0.06%. It's not in the comparison. It's not the 19-inch alloys versus 20-inch alloys, or 2.4-litre engine versus 2.6-litre engine. What is it? The 0.06% is exactly that. It's a brand's ability to make their customer feel understood, to make their customer feel aligned, to make their customer feel like that product or service was created specifically for them by someone that's exactly the same as them. That's that understanding. It's not in a brand's ability to, it's not in a brand's, success or relevance in their their opening hours or their customer service or any of those things. It's completely in a brand's ability to resonate with you and make you feel understood. Now, that's why I will drive past 5 cafes that do better coffee than my local, but I'll still go to my local because I feel as though they understand me. Now, to try to, reiterate that in a different way, I want to talk about how we select our friends. It's not an overly conscious decision. We don't have friend ceremonies. We don't have, friend auditions or friend application forms. Well, I don't anyway. But I think we can all agree that all of our friends are very individual and very unique and different to anybody that we've ever met. And we're attracted to that. What makes them different are their 0.06% resonates with us, resonates with our personality. And because of that, there's an alignment. And that alignment is what we call a friendship. In the same way, we just click with brands. Have you ever heard that expression, we just click? It's exactly what happens. We just click with certain brands because what makes them different, what makes us different, is aligned. Going back to that, analogy of the cafe, I feel understood at that place. I feel like they understand me. What is it? I don't know. It might be that their playlist is similar to my playlist. It might be that I can get a park outside quite easily and sit inside. It might be that they know my name. It might be that they're not pretentious about coffee. It might be all those things. I don't know. All I know is that I feel understood by them, and because of that, they have my loyalty. And it's going to take a lot more than just better coffee to sway that loyalty. It's going to take a lot more than just a different playlist to sway that loyalty. In the same way that with my friends, it's going to take a lot more than somebody who's a little bit funnier or a little bit more available or somebody that likes the same movies as me to sway my loyalty. In the same way that it's going to take a lot more than an extra megapixel or an extra megabyte of RAM to sway my loyalty because we feel a connection to these brands. These brands make you feel more like you because their point of difference and your point of difference are aligned. Sometimes all it takes is for a brand's values to be aligned with yours. And I want to share a story on that, or a case study. There's two supermarkets in Australia. One's called Woolworths and the other one's called Coles, all competing in the same space. Even though Woolworths had the slogan, the fresh food people, they didn't really leverage it. They didn't really run with it. They were both very much focused on value, 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 how much you could save, how far your dollar can go, and so on. And then Coles spent millions and millions of dollars on potentially the most annoying campaign in history, where they had this jingle called Down, Down, Prices Are Down that just carried on playing. And they advertised in every single forum. And they really established themselves as the better value supermarket. So what was Woolworths' response? They could have either pretended that it never happened, they could have either fought back, or they could have changed their message. What they decided to do was go to a branding firm and say, we want to communicate a message that's relevant to people. And the branding firm said, what's that message? And they said, you're the branding firm, figure it out. So the branding team went to 60 shopping centres of all different walks of life, different socioeconomic areas, and asked the same question. Would you prefer a fresher product or a cheaper price? And when they collated that information, they were quite surprised with the results, in that 86% of people said they'd prefer a fresher product. And what that meant is Coles, as well as all other competitors, were fighting for 14% of the market, and it also meant that 86% of Australia felt a little bit understood. Nobody was really there communicating the way that they needed them to. This was too big of an opportunity for Woolworths to miss out on. So what did they do? They changed their logo to two fresh, crisp apples. They changed their colours to look a lot fresher. They changed their fit-outs to look a lot more open, to look like the fruit had just been delivered on pallets. They would have fruit that almost looks photoshopped. All fruit matters. They very much went out and leveraged the fresh food people. Now, within 6 months of launching this brand, they became recognized as one of the 15 most successful retailers in the world. I'm not talking about supermarkets, I'm talking about retailers. So yes, that includes your Walmarts and your Costcos and everything, the little supermarket from Australia. Now, the most impressive thing about that is they didn't touch their 99.94%. They didn't change their supermarket locations, they didn't change their customer service, they didn't change the products they stock, they didn't change the pricing of those products, they didn't change any of those things except the way they communicate and resonate with people. And by changing those things, what they said is, hey, we don't know what you're into, but we value a fresher product over everything else. Wait, what? You too? What are the odds? You should do business with us. We understand you. And people did. So whether you're trying to understand brand loyalty or achieve it, the most important thing you need to know is this. What is your 0.06% and who resonates with that? That's the difference. Thank you.